I've been working on some of our footage here, getting it logged into my editing system, and I saw some stuff that Kevin, my camera operator, shot that I wasn't there for. I was in the car when this was shot. And so I didn't see it at the time, but I've seen it now. And we've already established that things that are on TV, that they count. So for me, I actually use medical marijuana because I've got long-running stomach issues. But here it is, marijuana doctor, and I definitely have a marijuana doctor who's prescribed me marijuana. So I think I need a ruling on this. So
in my mind, it counts.
You're saying medical marijuana is out. No smoking medical marijuana.
Yeah, you saw the ad. It says medical marijuana. You're a medical marijuana card holder. Hey, you made the rules. This is your experiment.
You make a solid point that I don't want to agree to. But I guess if that's the ruling, that is the ruling, and I will abide by it. So no smoking medical marijuana for the rest of the experiment, I guess. I'd really like to finish this bowl at the very least, but I think these guys are going to hold tough. This sucks. Legitimately sucks. Kevin and Brian, they took off a few minutes ago, and it's just me and Mike here. Ran into a friend out in the courtyard, and they set me up with some marijuana that is absolutely positively non-medical in nature. So the problem has been solved from my perspective.
Conflicted, misusing your influence.
Galpin Mazda, a proud member of the Galpin Motors family, consistently carries one of the largest selections of new Mazdas.
Holy crap. Is that a Mazda ad playing right now?
I mean, it's for like Galpin Mazda, it's not for Mazda. It's for that dealer though, it's not for the actual brand Mazda.
Hey, this is Mazda. You are driving a Mazda. Didn't you and Mike just clarify the other day that brand name counts now?
I mean, but it's advertising Galpin Mazda and then like the actual ads for a Miata. Like this is, I didn't buy this from Galpin and it's definitely not a Miata. I can't drive my car?
I guess not. I mean, you're the one that doing the experiment. This is a Mazda ad. You guys said the parent company counts.
You gotta be kidding me. I don't even like, this is, oh man.
Where's he going?
I don't even believe it.
Andy, where you going, man?
I'm irritated. This is not a good thing. Like even, yeah. So it's gonna be impossible to get around town without a car. It's absolutely impossible to get around LA without a car.
I agree, man, you're screwed. So what do we do now?
I guess it's a good thing that there's a liquor store right around the corner from my apartment and 2 grocery stores in walking distance. I'm headed down to interview a guy in Huntington Beach, and unfortunately I live in North Hollywood and I can't drive. So I'm walking to a bus, and then I'm gonna take a train, and then I'm gonna take another train, and then I'm gonna probably take another bus. And this is gonna take, I think, something like 3 hours. So, joy. We're having a little bit of a hiccup because we just got thrown off this train at, I don't know what station we're at, but we're not at Long Beach anyway, which is where we need to be. So I guess we just sit around and wait for the next train to come and get on that one. I just called for an Uber to get us down to Huntington Beach, and we've got Robert showing up in about 4 minutes with a Honda Accord. Today's been a little bit like a John Hughes movie, like planes, trains, and automobiles, but it's been what? Buses, trains, and taxis. Hi, Anthony?
Anthony Borsch.
I'm Andrew. It's
Andrew,
good to
nice
meet you.
Come on in.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you very much. We've been on the road for a little while today. We left my place in North Hollywood at about 8:30 this morning.
And what time is it now? 12:30?
12:30 about, yeah.
Yeah, so what, about 45 miles? two and a half, 3 hours to get 45 miles?
Exactly. Well, the problem is I heard an ad for my car, and I heard an ad for my wife's car, so we took the bus, and then 3 trains, and then an Uber to get down
gosh.
here.
I am an account executive for Salesforce.com. I rep their marketing platform. So I work with Fortune 500 companies to set up the software that will allow them to create in-depth advertising campaigns or marketing campaigns for their clients. The biggest problem a major corporation has nowadays for digital advertising is not getting the information, it's segregating the information and merging the information, right? A lot of companies have different facilities or different subsidiaries where the same person has logged in or bought a product or something like that, but they're not putting or melting that information together. The goal is to get as much information on a single individual as possible, right? A company wants to know what your needs are, what your buying habits are, if you're married, what your life status is about, so they can put the right product at the right time in front of you to capture a sale. And if they do this in a nonchalant way, as opposed to in your face, you don't feel like you're being marketing or advertised to. And that's really the direction that most of the major companies I work with are heading. In the old days, if you want to know if a sign or a TV ad was working, and this is still pretty prevalent, you put a 1-800 number on it, right? And when someone calls, you know that it's worked. With digital media, with digital advertising, you have a quicker response rate, right? You can get more real-time information on a client. You can see that a client has come to your website, for example, and browsed for X amount of time and left. Now, that person, or you can find out, that company can find out what that person was looking at, how long they were, if they put anything in their cart, but then set the cart back. And they can take that information, and when they have let's say a deal on that product, or they have something similar that might interest that customer, they can retarget the client and put that product back in their lap again. I think that any ad that is providing information that could be helpful to an individual could be deemed as positive. I mean, it's a cog in the machine, right? We live in a society where there are tons of products, and because of that, people have choices. A choice is a great thing. I mean, it would suck to wake up in the morning and you had to eat just a bowl of cornflakes because there was absolutely nothing else for breakfast. But if you didn't advertise for your products, there's going to be no awareness of your product, right? And I think ultimately it's up for the people to decide whether this is a good or a bad thing. I mean, the great thing about television advertising is we can turn it off. You don't have to click on an ad. We live in a society where people can voice their opinions and companies can put their products out there for you, but it's still ultimately up to the consumer to decide. I think that from a business standpoint, an ad is successful if you see a return on your investment. That's a strict dollars and cents question. If we're looking at it in more of a holistic view, or one where you're trying to gauge the response of the ad with people, I'd say that it's an ad that probably pulls on somebody's emotional chords, or an ad that provokes somebody to act. And whether that action is buying that product, or that action is saving water, or that action is using somebody who you would have never thought to use before, then that would be success from an advertising standpoint. The reality with advertising is, whether it's good or bad, if it makes some kind of an impact or provokes some kind of an emotion, it can work.